The past is a dream, and the future is only a possibility. In Africa, people live in the continuous present, which does not run or pass. It does not adapt to fool tomorrow. It is not divided into instances or moments. It is not lost, nor is it avoided. Time lies only in the hands of God, and the God of Islam dominates everything in Sahel. But it is a crossbred God who came from Arabia overflowing with absolute truths. He was reborn and adorned with other gods and foreign spirits, with fetishes and holy men who protect man during life and who guide him in death towards the heavenly paradise. Because in Africa, in the eternal Africa of myths, death does not exist. Death is nothing more than an invention by man, which renews time in order to continue seeking out life. And although the future is only a possibility, Sahel is a trail of hope for what is to come. And it cannot be any other way when 70% of the population is under the age of 15. Hassan and Ibrahim are two Tuareg teenagers who go to school together in Agadez, although their parents fought on different sides during the war between the Tuaregs and the Niger government. Hassan's family fought very actively in favor of the rebels. On the other hand, Ibrahim's family was pro-government. They have lived in the city for many years and are in favor of keeping on good terms with the government. But these two families have something in common. Both have always been dedicated to the Azalai, the caravan of salt. The Azalai, one of the last big commercial salt routes, used to start off from Agadez, and still does. From November to January, hundreds, thousands of camels cross the way between Agadez and the mines of Bilma to further distribute the salt to the rest of the country. After 10 years of war between the rebel Tuaregs and the Niger government, the Azalai caravan travels again peacefully. Neither Hassan nor Ibrahim have ever accompanied their parents on the caravan. The war made the way dangerous, and therefore they did not dare to travel with them. But this year it will be different. This year, for the first time, the caravans will depart in peace, and children will leave the school for a few weeks to start learning their parents' profession. Hassan wants to become a lawyer, and Ibrahim a doctor. Their respective parents support them as they want their children to be able to enter a world that they have never known. But they also want them not to forget. Their parents want them to fight for the world that they belong to, a world in danger of extinction in the face of the advancing modern world.
Since the moment our parents told us we were going to travel with the caravan, we have spoken of nothing else but that. We tried to imagine how it would be to walk along for one day after the other with the animals, how the nights would pass learning how to guide us by the stars. And now, there we were, together at last. We do know it is still a long way to Bilma, but from now on we will walk close to one another. Our professor told us once that friendship consisted in giving your friend the weapon that causes wounds, as he will use it to defend us. I hope to always stand by Hassan to defend him.
The Tuareg live in a universe that is changing very quickly. A kind of reality that has nothing to do with the one lived by their parents is waiting for Hassan and Ibrahim. In that future they are supposed to build, there must be a necessary if uncertain place for tradition. The Tuareg's tradition is slavery, pillage, an eternal war against everyone, and even against themselves. But this tradition is also a synonym for dignity, freedom, and identity against the abyss of the future. So it's time for them to find their own place in this world. There is a corner of the sea on the coast of Africa that is part of the desert. It looks like a no man's land. Its wild symmetry gives the impression of geographic mismanagement, an absence of boundaries and distances. But nothing in the desert is accidental. Nothing is chaotic or left to the whims of time. It's a perfect embrace, a communion of sand and water in dunes that head toward the sea from the heart of the continent. The waters off the northern coast of Mauritania, at the same latitude as the Sahel, is one of the richest fishing areas in the world. Over the past 30 years, with the complicity of the local government, enormous commercial fishing ships sailing under international flags have exhausted these waters. At the same time, all along the coast, from Nouakchott to Nouadhibou, thousands of men earn their livings by traditional fishing methods, in direct competition with the large industrial fishing ships. It is an unequal fight that metaphorically takes shape in the Bay of Nouadhibou, where a handful of these large ships are slowly disintegrating. Sometimes mechanical breakdowns or having run aground, other times unpaid fines, have aided time in creating this unexpected nautical graveyard. On the surface, there are more than 100 ships. Underwater, they say there are close to 1,000. It's a tragic and beautiful setting, an aesthetic of rusty perversity. A place that reflects the contrast between the commercial fishing industry and the traditional fishermen. The predominance of steel over survival and solidarity. On the other side of Sahel, a warm, calm sea dozes. Djibouti is one of those countries invented by man to satisfy his desires for adventure, to keep the mysterious flame alive in a geography that does not appear to be from this world. It's a country carved by fire and water, chiseled by the whims of the gods of hell. Djibouti is located where nobody can ignore it, in the indispensable corner of the Horn of Africa, right where the continent borders Arabia. It's a strategic location, the necessary passage to the Orient from the Suez Canal. In ancient times, it was the meeting point for Indian, Arab, and Greek sailors. Today, it is still a territory that welcomes smugglers and adventurers. Nights in Sahel are long. Poetry and music grip the palm grove, and the sound of the tidinit reaches the highest dunes. The night celebrations are an excuse for ambiguity. The words of the songs evoke impossible pleasures and great epic poems about legendary heroes. They are religious and profane songs about battles, games, and nostalgia for a lost time. It's like everything on the Sahel frontier, a crossbred of music, born out of the constant crossing of never-ending paths. The women of Sahel are waiting, like the land, like the desert. They seem immobile, eternally waiting. The women are the ones who remain, constant in a world that is slowly surrendering. But Sahel is an immense mother, an eternal wife for men with distant eyes. In Sahel, there will always be a mother to continue nursing life.